Housing Development Program in Africa. Housing Development Program and the globe. Number one, Housing Development Program.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to a special holiday edition of Housing Development. I'm your housing diva, Fleur Oni. Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane, reflecting on the major event, achievement, and milestone in the housing sector in 2024. It's been an incredible year of growth, innovation, and impact in housing and real estate across Africa and beyond. From groundbreaking housing projects to pivotal policy changes, the strides made in 2024 have set new standards and opened doors for an even brighter future. Coming up, we'll revisit some of the year's biggest highlights. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this festive recap of the year's defining moment in housing. Once again, from all of us here at Housing Development, Merry Christmas and thank you for joining us on this journey throughout the year. Let's keep building dreams together. Hi everyone, this is your housing diva Fleur Ani. It's a joyous season, and this season reminds us of the importance of love, unity, and hope. May your hearts and homes be filled with peace, laughter, and a cherished moment with loved ones. Thank you so much for being a part of this incredible journey with us. Here's to a brighter and even more inspiring year ahead. I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Yes, it's been a wonderful year 2024. And it's time to say happy holidays to all our friends around the world. And I hope to see you in 2025. Wish, by the grace of God, will be a better year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Welcome back. 2024 was a year of transformative progress in the housing sector. Today, we are taking a trip down memory lane, reflecting on the major event, achievement, and milestones in the housing sector in 2024.
Today, in a significant development for Nigeria's housing sector, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, inaugurated 4 reform tax schemes on the Renewed Hope agenda.
Let's clap for them.
Dangiwa emphasized the importance of creating a vibrant and efficient housing industry during the inauguration ceremony held recently in Abuja.
What unites us is the desire for Nigeria to have a vibrant, functional and efficient housing industry that not only meets the shelter needs of Nigerians, but also to unlock the massive potential of the sector for catalyzing inclusive economic growth.
In line with the Renewed Hope agenda of the present administration, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is embarking on an ambitious housing delivery program for all Nigerians in collaboration with the private sector to deliver 3,100 housing units in the Federal Capital Territory under the Renewed Hope Cities and Estate Housing Program. Dangiwa also highlighted the main focus and purpose of the initiative behind the Renewed Hope City, which is to ensure that all Nigerians, including those with no income, the vulnerable and underprivileged groups, have access to decent and dignified accommodation.
Mr. President, sir, we will make your Renewed Hope vision for housing a practical reality in terms of decent quality and affordable homes with infrastructure that support dignified living for our people.
The official commissioning of the Nasaro Technology Village Phase 1 is an actualization of a dream come true for the development and growth of the housing sector in Nigeria. The event, which featured the commissioning of the Phase 1 of the project, comprising 100 housing units, and the groundbreaking of the technology hub, The Nasarawa Technology Village is a modern reflection of the fusion of affordable housing and technology.
So what are the primary factors contributing to the incessant collapses of the national grid in Nigeria?
I think bluntly, one of the fundamental reasons is the issue of liquidity. Liquidity has been a challenge right from time. The market has not been able to recover the appropriate cost of selling the product. It has always existed on one form of subsidy or the other, which in itself had not been provided for. At a certain point, NEC got to a point where it was able to manage the subsidy, that what it was recovering was just, what it was not able to recover was just negligible.
The proliferation of estate developers should be a blessing. However, it has become a cankerworm that is gradually eating deep into the fibers of our communities. The Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAN, has recognized these pressing concerns and is calling for urgent regulation and certification in the real estate sector.
Estate developers, proliferation. I have a problem with that. But when you say estate development, proliferation, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the one I mentioned to you because in the recent time, due to lack of regulation, the business of real estate development has now been taken over by criminals, quack, fake people who don't even have office of their own. They go around with flyers, putting it on social media, some on billboard, because there's nobody regulating it.
Housing conversations have historically centered around the physical construction. However, discussions about financing have been underemphasized. The theme of the 18th Africa International Housing Show, Financing the Housing We Need, seeks to directly address this gap. Key stakeholders from the political scene and the built environment convened at the National Stadium, Abuja, at the front lines of the 18th Africa International Housing Show. The opening ceremony, chaired by Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo, focused on the critical role of finance in housing and real estate development.
The theme of this conference is financing the housing that we need. This theme is apt and particularly timely. Finance is central in housing and real estate development. Finance is required at both ends of the value chain to actualize the demand and supply of housing. On the supply side, construction or a wholesale finance is required by developers to deliver on housing projects. Whilst on the demand side, mortgage or retail finance is a key driver of buying or renting decisions.
Addressing the gathering, the chief host and Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Dangiwa, representing Vice President Kashim Shettima, affirmed housing as a fundamental right. He expressed the government's commitment to collaborating with the private sector to bridge the housing gap.
It is my belief that this forum will produce insightful solutions and actionable conclusions that will add to our individual and collective efforts to update the delivery of affordable housing to our citizens across Africa. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you are all aware, housing is a basic need and the right of every human being. However, while housing is a right, access to it depends on the financial ability of individuals and the capacity and will of government to intervene to create the enabling environment for its provision.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, who was represented by Chairman Reps Committee on Housing and Habitat, Abdulmumin Jibrin identified implementation gaps, regulatory oversight deficiencies, and lack of incentives as barriers needing urgent attention to narrow the housing deficit.
No matter the amount of money you sink into the sector, no matter how much policies you put to strengthen and make the land use act more productive and advantageous for the housing sector, no matter how much we meet here to talk, if we do not address these issues, we will not have the results that we're looking for. Particularly in the case of Nigeria, there's a huge potential in the housing sector, unlimited potentials. My pedigree of work has placed me in different sectors. I've been able to see what's going on in every sector, and I say, if we press the button and trigger the potential of the housing sector, it is going to be the largest sector. So you have the problem of coordination. If you don't streamline policies.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio, represented by Senator Victor Ume, advocated for collaborative efforts to ensure housing as a fundamental right across the continent. He reiterated the Senate's dedication to inclusive policies that address current housing needs without burdening future generations.
The event stands as a testament to our collective vision of constructing a more robust Africa, where everyone would have a roof over his head. The privilege of being here lies in the fortune of having a leader, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, whose unwavering commitment to our nation's advancement in the housing sector has positively impacted the lives of millions.
Representatives of national and international organizations, alongside experts in the housing sector, commended the Africa International Housing Show for its consistent focus on critical housing issues and urged sustained attention to housing challenges.
It is my pleasure to be here to witness the opening ceremony of the 2024 edition of the Africa International Housing Show, an event that has become a veritable platform for cross-fertilization of ideas on national and international development challenges, particularly in housing development and mortgage finance. The theme of this year's event, Financing the Housing We Need, is both timely and critical. As I used to say, here in Nigeria, we have a lot of houses we don't need, and we need a lot of houses we don't have.
The theme of this year's event, Financing the Housing We Need, is not only timely, but definitely essential. Housing challenges are a global issue, adversely affected by population growth, urbanization, and various climate issues. The importance of addressing these challenges cannot be overstated, as shelter remains our fundamental human need alongside food and water.
The opening ceremony concluded with a tour of exhibition booths, showcasing innovations and solutions aimed at addressing Africa's housing demands.
The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria's apex mortgage institution, held its management retreat with the theme Improving Efficiency and Customer Service Delivery for Development Impact. The event highlighted major strategic blueprint which seeks to position FMBN as a leader in the mortgage finance industry. Delivering his opening address, the MD and CEO of FMBN, Shehu Osidi, expressed his delight over the retreat, which is intended to take a close look at the bank's operational efficiency and customer service delivery.
As we have severally made clear, the current executive management desires to transform FMBN into an institution that encourages initiatives and innovation and challenge the status quo. In furtherance of this desire, we have outlined a 7-point agenda to guide our actions as we work to secure FMBN's future and enhance its developmental impact.
On the 20th of August 2024, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, inaugurated the Steering Committee on National Housing Data. This committee was set up to develop a framework for addressing one of the most pressing challenges facing the country, the accurate generation and analysis of housing data, which is needed for evidence-based planning in the housing sector. Hope has been rekindled for a greater Lagos at the just concluded maiden edition of the Lagos Fiscal Planning Summit that held in Lagos. The event is aimed at addressing critical fiscal planning challenges in Lagos State, fostering regional integration, enhancing infrastructure development, and promoting responsible urban growth to meet the demands of a rapidly expanding population, accountability, and community engagement.
What are the implications of the reforms for real estate stakeholders? That's the way I put it. And I identify the stakeholders in three categories. The first category, real estate brokers. And of course, I did take into account here developers, because for developers, they are basically in business. So all basic rules relating to corporate income tax, we apply to them. And of course, the provisions of withholding tax deductions and the rest of them.
It was a moment of celebration and recognizing hard work, dedication, resilience, and commitment in the housing sector and urban development as the African Housing Awards and Industry End of Year Dinner 2024, the sixth in the series, awarded ministers, governors of state, commissioners, MDs and CEOs of mortgage institutions, legislators, MDs and CEOs of real estate companies, and many more for their significant contributions to the achievement, growth, development, and prosperity of the housing sector and urban development in Nigeria and across Africa. Giving his opening remarks, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, expressed his heartfelt gratitude to the organizers of the Africa Housing Award for their consistency over the years.
Let me start by appreciating the organizers of the Africa Housing Awards, the Housing Africa Group, and particularly my very good friend, Festus Adebayo, for putting up together this remarkable initiative. Recognizing the efforts of players in the sector and also encouraging them to do more is a great way to spur development in the sector and also achieve our collective objectives for the good of Nigerians.
The chairman of the occasion and former Minister of Mines and Solid Minerals, Architect Musa Sada, while giving his opening speech, thanked the convener of Africa Housing Award, Festus Adebayo, for providing the platform for stakeholders to share ideas on how to move the sector forward. He also called for more collaboration among stakeholders in addressing the challenges facing the sector.
Housing, to some of us, is a human right, and as such is something that needs to have all the attention that it deserves.
While delivering his welcome address, the organizer of the Africa Housing Awards, Festus Adebayo, emphasized on the importance of housing as a cornerstone of development. Also speaking, the Chairman Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honorable Abdul Mumini Jibril, who was represented by his wife, Mariam Jibril, pledged legislative support to drive growth in the housing sector.
Thanks to the African Housing Awards for this prestigious recognition, which I accept not only as an individual, but as a shared victory with members of my Committee of Housing and Habitat, who are so committed and passionate to their assignment. The House of Representatives and all those who are committed to transforming the housing sector across Nigeria. I therefore wish to dedicate this award to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, a strong advocate of the housing sector, who appointed me as chairman of this very important Committee on Housing and Habitat, provided every support needed by the committee to succeed. We couldn't have achieved this without him.
The business of the day, which is the awards and recognition, saw prominent persons in the housing sector being recognized and celebrated. Nigeria's Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, was awarded Africa Housing Minister of the Year 2024. Governor Ahmed Aliyu of Sokoto State was celebrated as Urban Planning and Housing Friendly Governor of the Year, while Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State received the Housing Friendly Governor of the Year award. Other dignitaries recognized were Honorable Abdul Mumuni Jibrin, Chairman Committee on Housing and Habitat, Housing Friendly Legislator of the Year, Senator Aliyu Wamako, Housing Friendly Senator of the Year. The Affordable Housing Hall of Fame took center stage with the induction of two trailblazers, Architect Jumoke Akinwumi and Professor Olumide Olusanya, for their legacies in affordable housing development as a source of inspiration for future generations. Guests were thrilled to some entertainment, laughter, and merriment. Awardees and invited guests expressed their profound gratitude to the organizer of the African Housing Awards 2024.
This is one of the greatest events of the housing sector.
A lot is happening in our sector, but a lot still has to happen. So to be singled out for an honor is a true privilege. I think that we're turning the corner. And, exciting news coming from the minister. I have to actually start by thanking the organizers. I mean, Festus is an extremely passionate person, Barrister Adebayo.
Haji Arisi Ahmed. I'm the MD/CEO, ASO Savings and Loan PLC. And the beautiful award is the leading woman in real estate. Before I tell you what I did differently, I need to thank African Housing for their effort in bringing out the best in women. I will say to you that this award is amplifying the voice of the unheard. My
name is Dr. Olumide Abiodun Oloyinka, the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development in Lagos State. The ministry is saddled with the responsibility of defining the physical structural state of the state in terms of development. And what we've done is to come up with a new strategy of producing master plans, because all development take root from the master plan. Well, you've seen that what they've done. It's an encouragement for us, especially those of us in the built environment. And it's a call for us to keep, like they used to say, the reward for hard work is more work. And it's a challenge now, it's opening up. So my other colleagues should also try and ensure that maybe next year they too can come up with something like this, because by doing that you have rapid development all over the Federation.
Despite this achievement, 2024 was not without its challenges. The year saw devastating floods in federal regions, which displaced thousands of families and highlighted the vulnerability of our existing housing infrastructure. Economic constraints also pose significant challenges, impacting the pace of some housing projects. However, these obstacles reinforce critical lessons: the urgent need for climate-resilient housing designs to mitigate the effect of natural disasters, the importance of strengthening community-based approaches to ensure that housing solutions meet the needs of the people they serve, and the power of collaboration between public institutions, private developers, and civil society organizations. These lessons will undoubtedly inform our strategies as we move forward. Let's watch a throwback of Voices on the Street.
Well, actually, the cost of rent is really something else. Most of the landlords are almost doubling the house rent. And unfortunately, in Nigeria today, a house that was being built some years back, it's only an issue of cost of maintenance, that they will double the house rent.
And when I listened to the news and I got this information, I didn't buy the idea. Because when you consider the economic situation, which is already bad, and you see people already, they are suffering, some people cannot even afford food to eat. Most people are sick, they can't even go to the hospital, and you're telling them to come and spend all the money on electricity, whereas they have other things to spend money on. Honestly, it's really bad.
If they can have a kind of particular areas in Abuja, that this place should be designed for local owners, so that at the end of the day, there won't be demolition. Because most of the times, we find out that when people are living in a kind of places, they want to survive, get ends meet. Before you know it, 2-3 years, government will go there and demolish the place. They will say this place is not the master plan. These are not designed for so things. So they should have a specific place that the low-income earners can live comfortable without having any issue of demolition. Because demolition is one of the problems that we have in Abuja.
These voices on the street highlight the urgent need for sustainable housing solutions and effective rent control policies and improved urban planning. As housing challenges persist, many are calling on policymakers to address the growing crisis with practical, people-centered strategies. Housing is more than just a place to live. It is a fundamental right. The voices on the streets reminds us of the pressing need to prioritize this issue for a better, more inclusive future. As we conclude our review of 2024, it is imperative to look ahead. The housing sector must remain at the forefront of national development efforts. Key areas of focus for 2025 should include scaling up investment in climate resilient and affordable housing projects to address the dual challenges of environmental sustainability and housing shortages, strengthening the role of technology in reducing construction costs and improving efficiency, promoting policies that encourage private sector participation while ensuring equitable access to housing for the most vulnerable populations. As we mark the end of 2024, let us carry forward the lessons and successes of the year with renewed determination. Once again, from all of us here at Housing Development, Merry Christmas and thank you for joining us on this journey throughout the year. Let's keep building dreams together. As always, I am Flora Ani, your housing diva, and Happy New Year in advance. See you in 2025.